One of the big marquee games this weekend was the Buffalo Bills versus the Houston Texans. Huge game. You got Buffalo's old receiver. You got, the Bills didn't look great against Baltimore, but they've looked great overall for the season. They've looked great. Houston looks really good, all this kind of stuff. We're not going to talk about the game as a whole. We're here to talk about, and it sounds ridiculous, we're here to talk about the last 32 seconds of the game. For those of you who did not see, Houston won the game on a last-second field goal. But that's not the story. The story is the 31 seconds that preceded that last-second field goal. Setting the table. Buffalo Bills have 1st and 10 with 32 seconds left in the game on their own, I think it was 3-yard line, 2 or 3, something like that. They were pinned inside their 5. 32 seconds left in the game. Baltimore, it's a tie game, has all 3 timeouts left. Conventional wisdom might say, well, run 3 plays, keep it on the ground, force Baltimore to burn all their timeouts. I was watching Mike Greeny earlier this morning. He was talking about this. He said, no, you figure each play takes about 5 seconds. So you burn 15 seconds off that 32, then 7 to 9 seconds just on the punt play. Mm-hmm. And Baltimore would have no timeouts with about 8 seconds left. They'd have time for 1 Hail Mary. That's it. They would be out of field goal range, time for 1 Hail Mary. That's it. You take it to overtime. Inexplicably, Sean McDermott, who, by the way, I am very pro on. I think he's done a great job in Buffalo. Wonderful job. I think he's a great coach. Not top 2 or 3, but up there. I think he's a wonderful coach. He's done a wonderful job with this team. He's great. But in a scenario that a 5-year-old could figure out.
Anybody that's played Madden knows not to do that.
and by the way, I want you to keep this in mind too. A little bit of context. If your quarterback is super hot, maybe you lean on their arm a bit. Josh Allen was 9 for 30. You might want to fact check me on that, but I think Josh Allen was like 9 for 30 in the game. I'm not even sure if he threw over 100 yards in the game. I'm pretty sure he did, but 9 for 30. Your first thought, what was he?
He threw for 131 yards, 30% completion percentage.
With a 30% completion rate. That's not the time to go, hey, let's roll the dice on our quarterback's arm. When there's 32 seconds left, run the ball 3 times, go into overtime, and give ourselves a shot. Instead, they ran 3 passing plays in a row. Understand this. They weren't going to march from their 3-yard line and score a touchdown in 32 seconds. But they decided they were going to throw 3 plays in a row. Incomplete, incomplete, incomplete. Which means every time, for the uninitiated, the clock stops. Baltimore doesn't even have to call a timeout. You run the ball, timeout. Run the ball again, second timeout. Run the ball again. Baltimore blows all their timeouts. Few seconds left in the game with a punt. You're going to take it to overtime. Listen, when you go back to one of the big, most infamous coaching decisions of all time, Pete Carroll, Super Bowl with New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. They decide to throw the ball instead of handing it off to their touchdown machine. I've always looked at that. First of all, I was very happy with the outcome because the Patriots won another Super Bowl. But I always remember thinking, if that pass had been completed, right, everybody would have been calling Pete Carroll a genius. Everybody would be saying, Pete Carroll knew they would be looking for the run. Pete Carroll knew that they'd be loading up the box and looking for the run. And what a brilliant mind to throw that ball. But what happened? Got intercepted on the goal line. They lose. And all of a sudden, it's the worst decision of all time. See, I can look at that. Was it the wrong decision? Yes. But I can look at that and I can see the reasoning behind Pete Carroll's decision. Again, because definitely New England's looking for that. You might be able to catch them off guard with a pass. I disagree, but I can see the reasoning. guys, I don't understand what the thought process is in a tie football game with 32 seconds left. A quarterback is throwing a 30% completion rate where all you got to do is run the ball 3 times and take this thing to overtime. What is the upside? What is the rationale of throwing these 8, 10, 12-yard passes that wasn't going to get you any? What was the upside?
Yeah. Well, it's also super dangerous. It happened yesterday in the Rams game. Love got pressured in the end zone
and threw that
he threw
wild
a horrible pick six.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not trying to score a touchdown, just go to overtime. I know overtime's a crapshoot too with the coin flip, but you're just basically giving them a chance. If they had no timeouts, maybe I could see maybe why you would have thrown it once, maybe, but 3 times in a row when he hasn't completed his passes, I don't get it. I really don't. Like, what are you trying to do?
And that's
and
the
he
part
hasn't
that
been playing
confused
good,
me.
like you said. He has, and nobody's stepped up. So what are you doing?
Now again, in Sean McDermott's credit, he got up at the podium and said, "This is on me.
Yeah.
This is my fault. It's on me." That's a man's man going up there taking responsibility. It was probably the offensive coordinator making the call, but he still should have called up to the booth and said, "Run this ball."
Yeah.
Burn burn Houston's timeouts, and let's get this thing over. Now, listen, in the long, big picture, they may have gone to overtime and lost the game anyway,
Yeah.
right? I mean, so let's not pretend like, Buffalo was up by 6 and then blew it. They might have lost the game anyway, but we'll never know because with 32 seconds left, they threw the ball 3 times.
And I think this is a bigger issue. I think they rely on Allen too much.
Way too much.
I think, whenever they don't know, do something for us. Basically, he does his reads, he runs. He's super good. He's great. But
He's great. Yeah.
They can't establish their offense. Yesterday, the first half, they didn't do anything. They did something in the third yesterday, but I know they thought they could get rid of Diggs, and I think Diggs hit 80 yards yesterday. I don't think they thought they'd be this bad when they got rid of him and didn't really replace him.
Now let's keep things in perspective here. They're still 3-2, right? The Bills are still first place in the AFC East. They'll be fine. I mean, Josh Allen is not going to. I'll go out on a limb. Josh Allen is not going to have a 30% completion rate for the rest of the season. Okay, I'll go way out on a limb and say that again. They'll be okay, but man, I mean, last week's loss against Baltimore, again, that's a tough game. Someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. That's fine. Houston, again, they're 4-1. Super tough team. Someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. It was tight. It was tie. On another day, they win that game. But it's just when in a league, unlike baseball, where you got 182 games.
62.
60. Sorry, I stand corrected.
But imagine getting smacked around for 162 games of football.
Got like 2 guys left.
You last one season.
Yeah.
But I mean, every game counts. And to me, this is going to be one. If they either don't get into the playoffs, which I think they will, but if they don't secure like home field advantage by a game, I think they're going to keep looking back to this one game and really scratch their heads. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think about that call? I mean, Buffalo just blew it for no reason whatsoever. How did you see it? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comments and leave your thoughts there.